Welcome. Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, more than just a physical journey. It's about a really powerful inner transformation. We're looking at an experience on the Parvati Pass. It's legendary, this Himalayan passage known for really testing your limits spiritually, physically, everything.
Absolutely. And the source material you shared, it frames it perfectly. It's not a walk, is it? It's something you earn.
Exactly, earn. Through cold rivers, shifting glaciers, these relentless valleys.
And it promises this incredible view, makes it all worthwhile. But there's a warning, too.
Right. Few actually complete it, and even fewer come back unchanged. That's the hook for me.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to dig into the core insights from this team's journey. Not just what they did, but why they went in the first place.
What they actually faced out there.
Yeah, and what summit they truly reached. Because, it might not have been the physical peak they were aiming for initially.
That's often the case with these kinds of experiences.
So we'll trace their steps. From that initial buzz, the excitement, to the really raw moments of struggle, and crucially, the decision that changed everything for them.
Okay.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So starting at the beginning, the sources, they paint this picture of, well, huge excitement. They'd been planning this for a long time.
Right. A big buildup.
And Samir, one of the team members, it was incredibly personal for him, a real deep-seated goal.
That personal investment really ups the stakes, doesn't it?
It does. And there's this detail, almost a footnote, but kind of telling. Another team member, Manu, had to drop out last minute. Family issue.
Oh, wow. And they found out when they were already on the way.
Party on the bus took a soul, yeah. So right from the off, there's this element of plans changing.
And what's fascinating, as you mentioned, is how fast those high expectations just crashed into reality.
Immediately.
They felt ready, the source says, prepared. But that first leg, Barshani to Kirganga, it showed them otherwise pretty brutally.
Yeah, the picture it paints is just instant struggle, like overloaded backpacks right away, pain already setting in. And this feeling, the sources actually say it felt like the trek turned into a tragedy almost straight away.
A tragedy. That's strong language right at the start.
It is. And then imagine rain hits, tents are hard to pitch, Samir gets sick, feverish, his gear's all wet.
Oh, that's just miserable. Cold, wet, sick.
And mentally, the sources say that very night, they were already thinking about how to turn back, planning the retreat.
Wow, that quick. From summit dreams to planning the exit in, what, a day?
Pretty much. It really makes you question that initial preparedness, doesn't it? Or maybe the nature of resilience itself.
Absolutely. It shows that even with all the planning in the world, the raw experience of nature can just overwhelm you so quickly.
But then, and this is where it gets really interesting for me, the next morning, things shifted.
Okay.
The sun came out. And with it, something they hadn't felt for, 24 hours. Hope.
Ah, the classic mountain moment. Sun breaks through, spirits lift.
Yeah, but was it just the weather? Or something deeper? The sources talk about this reboot.
A reboot? How so?
Well, physically, they started shedding weight, giving away extra food at camps, lightening their packs.
Okay. Practical.
Yeah.
Smart. Shedding the unnecessary burden.
Right. And you can see it metaphorically, too, can't you? Shedding what was holding them back, maybe those initial unrealistic expectations.
That's a great point. It's physical and psychological unloading. This regrouping moment, it's often crucial on these long expeditions. They're learning, adapting in real time.
And this is also where we start seeing individual strengths really come to the fore, not just coping, but actively contributing in different ways.
Right, the team dynamic starts to really form under pressure.
Yeah, so Chandan, he's described as full of energy, keeping spirits high, pushing people forward, a motivator.
Yeah.
Essential.
Then there's Shashank, tallest guy, had a bad ankle apparently.
But he was carrying gear, pushing ahead, scouting for safe camp spots before dark. Never complained, just did it for the team.
The quiet workhorse.
Yeah.
The anchor. That's vital too.
Totally. And Sushant, more cautious, focused, taking measured steps, calm thoughts, sort of the steady hand.
Different roles, different strengths emerging. It's not just about physical strength anymore.
No, exactly. And they needed all of it for this next stretch towards Tunapooch, described as brutal.
Brutal how?
Steep climbs, cruel descents, the backpacks just dragging them down. They were having to stop every few steps just to breathe.
Ugh. That sounds soul-destroying.
Yeah. By 7 p.m., still 1.4 kilometers short of Tunapooch, they found water and just had to set up camp. They were done.
Just couldn't go any further.
The team was broken, sources say, shoulders in agony, legs completely gone, but they'd survived the day together.
That's survival, even when broken. That's a kind of victory in itself, isn't it? A recalibration.
I think so, a very hard-won one. So the next morning, they press on towards Patragat, only 4.5 kilometers away, but
What?
locals call it the danger point.
Okay. The danger point. Sounds ominous.
The description is pretty vivid. It's this narrow trail, basically wedged into a cliff face,
Right over the river.
with the Parvati River just thundering right beside you. One wrong step.
And you're gone. Swept away.
Exactly. The source says it humbles you quietly, without spectacle. Just the raw consequence right there.
That objective danger, it adds a whole different layer of mental pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about endurance anymore. It's about constant, focused attention, high stakes.
Totally. And then what they saw there, it sounds almost unbelievable.
The views.
Beyond views, the clouds, the glacier, the meadows, waterfalls, described as surreal, like no camera could possibly capture it.
That feeling, yeah. Sometimes the scale, the beauty, it's just too much to process, let alone photograph.
They apparently barely took any photos. It wasn't about capturing it, more about absorbing it.
A deeper feeling.
Yeah, respect, appreciation for nature, for the silence, just for being there, you know?
That sense of presence. That can be the real reward sometimes.
And interestingly, while they're having this profound experience, Shashank, remember, the quiet workhorse.
Yeah, the one with the bad ankle.
He'd actually stayed back at the previous camp, watching the gear, managing things, holding it all together even when he wasn't walking with them at that moment.
Wow. That's real team commitment. Understanding his role, maybe his limitations with the ankle at that point, but still contributing massively, holding the base.
Yeah. It shows how the team was functioning on multiple levels.
Okay.
So, then they push on from Patragat.
Roped up. Okay, so technically demanding terrain. Glacier crossing, probably.
Seems like it. Samir was at the front, ready to go, eager to push beyond, really wanted to go further.
Still driven by that personal goal.
Yeah. But then he looked back.
Ah, the look back.
This seems to be the moment. He looked back down the rope line.
And what did he see?
He saw Sushant, you know, the cautious one,
Yeah.
still carefully scanning the risks, assessing everything.
Okay. Consistent with his character.
And he saw Shandon, the energetic one, the motivator. But now, he was tired, really tired, slipping, struggling just to plant his feet properly.
The energy had run out. The reality of the altitude and exhaustion hitting him.
And this thought hit Samir, according to the source. One mistake, just one slip, and this whole story could end very differently.
Wow. The responsibility. Not just for himself, but for everyone on that rope.
Yeah.
It became terrifyingly real.
Exactly. And in that moment, they knew. They just knew.
What?
The trek ends here, right here.
They decided to turn back, even though the pass was maybe right there.
They were standing, as the source puts it, at the edge of a dream. Pin Parvati Pass, 17,500 feet, the silence, the cold, the wind.
That indifferent wind, yeah.
Offering that view that supposedly makes every hardship worth it. And apparently the path ahead even looked, quote, easy.
Looked easy, but they chose.
They chose to walk away. They realized it wasn't ours to take, not this time.
Wow, that takes incredible strength to get that close, for it to look achievable, and to make that call for the team.
It really does. And this, for me, is where the real summit of this deep dive lies. They didn't make it to Pin Pass, the physical point on the map.
But they reached something else.
Yeah, the source says it explicitly. They reached something greater. Ourselves.
Ourselves, wow.
The mountain didn't give them a summit pin. It gave them truth. About themselves, about teamwork, about limits, about judgment.
That's profound. They hope to go further next time, maybe. But they know this experience, this decision, that was once in a lifetime.
It really reframes success, doesn't it? It's not about ticking the box, conquering the peak. It's about the understanding game.
Absolutely. Internal understanding over external conquest.
So, thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening? This story, it's not just about climbing a mountain, is it?
Not at all.
It's a really powerful reminder, I think, that sometimes the biggest achievement isn't hitting that goal you set out for.
Right. Sometimes it's about knowing when to pivot, when safety or maybe team well-being has to come first.
Yeah, and recognizing the deeper lessons that come out of the challenges, even the ones that feel like failures at first. It's about finding that truer measure of success, maybe, within yourself.
Exactly. The team learned very directly that the mountain doesn't always give you the summit you planned for. Sometimes it gives you truth instead.
And that experience, even without the physical peak, was still once in a lifetime.
Which really prompts us, doesn't it, to think about how we define accomplishment. Is it always about conquering the external thing, or is it sometimes more about really knowing and respecting your internal landscape, your limits, your team's limits?
Realizing you can walk away from something you desperately wanted and still return profoundly changed, maybe even more profoundly changed.
With a deeper understanding, yeah, of your own capabilities, your own judgment.
So what stands out to you from this journey as you listen? Maybe it's that quiet strength they found,
It's
in
exactly
acknowledging their
2
limits.
p.m.
Or maybe it's just that
And we are
surprising
headed
realization that
towards
real success comes very,
Parvati,
very different from what
starting from
you first
Shiva.
imagined.
Yeah. Think about it. How many summits are there in life, really, where the journey, the transformation itself is the actual point, much more than just getting to the destination you initially aimed for?
What peak are you striving for right now? And maybe, what deeper truths might the path itself be trying to show you along the way? Something to think about.